Shibai Otsutsuki, or should we call him God Otsutsuki, how strong is he? Enjoy watching. The Otsutsuki clan is an unearthly race that has only one goal: evolution. They want to reach the highest degree of the evolutionary chain. And in order to do this, they learn to absorb the genes of other people. And not only genes, but also chakra and their memories. We do not know why they do this, and what their true purpose is. Who was the first of their race to come up with this idea? What actually happened on their planet and with them? And how many of them are left? Someone from this clan learned to absorb the memories of others, thanks to which the Otsutsuki clan became incredibly advanced in technology. In fact, they became immortal. Their technology is most likely so great due to the fact that on the various planets that they absorbed, there were people whose technology was quite advanced. And due to the fact that Otsutsuki on each of the planets absorbed the knowledge of other races, they were able to create both super technological and at the same time divine technique called karma, which allows them to be immortal gods. In the anime Boruto we were shown not so much Otsutsuki. So far, only 6 of the true clan. Except for the children of Otsutsuki from the moon, who are descended from one of Kaguya's children, and Hagoromo himself. As for me, of these 6, Kaguya showed us the most abilities. She could create bones that could destroy a person only by scratching him, and all that would be left of him was dust. She is so far the only one of her representatives who was able not only to move to other dimensions, but to move other dimensions to herself. Thus, Sasuke and Naruto were constantly moving in her dimensions. Also, Kaguya was able to completely control the 10 tails, as if he had become part of her. For now, only she could do it. In addition, many unique techniques originated from her genes, such as Sharingan, Rinnegan, Tenseigan, Amaterasu, Susanoo and so on. This means that all this power was in her genes. That's why I think Kaguya showed the most. But then we were shown other Otsutsuki. Unfortunately, all of them, one way or another, were defeated, and only one, which was mentioned recently, was equated with the power of God. And this is exactly the form that all Otsutsuki aspire to. To be honest, I thought Kaguya was the strongest of all, until the mention of Shibai Otsutsuki. Only through a few moments and mentions from the manga, it can be understood that he is the strongest. The ability of omniscience, which allows him to observe anyone he wants to, even look into their past, reflection of any attack, scratches, thanks to which he can travel to other dimensions, and through which he can interact with anything from afar. And that's without the god form he was able to obtain by eating chakra fruits. And in this form, he already looked much more impressive, and was as for me equated to a galactic scale. Most likely in this form Shibai could absorb chakra from planets without planting a divine tree. But how is this possible? And it seems to me that this piece from the manga shows it. These roots sticking out of his back are like the roots of the tree, which are able to suck chakra from the planet. This means that in his divine form, Shibai was able to unite with the 10 tails, and the strength and abilities of the beast became part of him. And in order to create a chakra fruit, he did not need to create a tree. He himself was a semblance of a tree. And all those eyes, which we also see in the manga, hint to us one thing: that he could watch everyone he wanted to, and that these eyes most likely could find him the right planet on which to collect chakra. But it is not yet known what those eyes are. Is it Byakugan, or is it the eyes like Ida's, or is it Jogun? Lots of Joguns, since Jogun is able to see through the dimension and see people. If so, then this is the first mention of this eye in the manga. Boruto demonstrated this when he tried to get out of Sumiri's dimension. However, it could also be a completely different eye. So far, we do not know this, but despite the fact that we know little about it, we can say with confidence that this form, and all the abilities of this god, is not something that Boruto, or Naruto and Sasuke can handle. Most likely this power neither Kaguya, nor Ishiki, nor Urashiki could resist. This is a completely different level. Shibai Otsutsuki, in his normal form, could create lightning with a single roar and a storm with a wave of his hand. And I'm afraid to imagine what he was capable of in his god form. We know that many different abilities are stored in Otsutsuki's genes. If Kaguya had Sharingan, Rinnegan and so on in her genes, and she absorbed far fewer chakra fruits than Shibai did, then even more incredible abilities must have been stored in his genes. Also, we were told that the gods were able to create Shinjutsu, divine techniques. What does it mean? That all existing techniques were created by Otsutsuki? And that each of them can create a unique technique based on the genes they have absorbed? And how does this happen? At the time of eating the fruit, or after? How do these techniques appear? These are very interesting questions. But from what we've seen in the manga, Amato knows the answer. Since, most likely, it was he who created the technique, thanks to which everyone falls in love with Ida. And if so, then, in the future, we will learn how the techniques are created, and how Boruto will be able to resist a form of God, which Code will most likely receive for himself. Kaguya's clan members have a unique opportunity to grow the divine tree. The seed for this tree is a monster, which, judging by the available information, is a bunch of natural energy, and in order to control this bunch that is the 10 tails, it is necessary, as we were hinted, to have a unique technique. After that, two questions appear. How are the 10 tails created? And what is this technique that can control them? Unknown. But there are a couple of hints of control over the beast, and these are wood techniques. As I said, Kaguya seemed to merge with the 10 tails, after which she was able to use a semblance of wood techniques. And these genes were passed on to her descendants, and Hashirama was able to control Biju with this particular technique. Hashirama was able to suck the chakra out of them with wood techniques. This means that he not only inherited Kaguya's power, he inherited the power of the divine tree, and most likely his mode was the power of the divine tree to absorb natural energy. That's why the first Hokage was so strong, and this is all thanks to the fact that he was Kaguya's descendant. But was it in her genes before she ate the chakra fruit, or after? This is what is not clear. Why exactly was the ability of the tree transferred like genes? Perhaps it was precisely because she merged with the 10 tails, just like Shibai himself most likely did, and new genes appeared in her body to absorb natural energy, just like the tree does, and this power was subsequently transferred to Hashirama. The question arises, to whom else was this power transferred? Unclear. Since Naruto is the reincarnation of Ashura, this power should have been transferred to him, but we have not seen such abilities in Hokage. It is possible that in the future we will see this power in him. Also, we were shown that all Biju can restore their chakra by absorbing natural energy. Even Kurama himself did this to regain his strength. Does that mean Sage Mode is descended from the 10 tails? Or was this the original power, and based on this mode, the 10 tails itself was created? We know that if you absorb too much chakra, it will absorb you, and in the case of Mount Miyaboku Naruto mode, you will turn into a stone statue. But we know that there are many ways to store natural energy. Is it possible that the authors gave us an answer to how the 10 tails was created? It was created by an out-of-control technique that was originally just hermit mode, and due to the fact that someone absorbed too much chakra, he turned into a monster, and the Otsutsuki clan decided to make seeds out of this, which would allow them to suck out chakra from the entire planet. And in order to create a fruit from this chakra, you need the 10 tails to absorb Otsutsuki, and the absorbed consciousness of Otsutsuki will somehow focus all this chakra in one place, that is in the fetus. For now, this is just a guess, but why would the 10 tails absorb the Otsutsuki? What's the point of this? So far, this is the only explanation I can think of, but through this whole cycle of eating the fruit, anyone can become incredibly strong, or become Otsutsuki himself. If so, then most likely they themselves were once ordinary people, and eventually became gods. It is possible that they achieved some kind of technological development, but a catastrophe occurred on their planet, and most of the living died. And in order not to lose all the knowledge they got, Otsutsuki figured out a way to collect it, even after their planet may have been destroyed. Because, if you remember, we were told that the fruit of a chakra is made up of the knowledge of everyone who has ever lived, that this fetus contains the genes of everyone who has ever existed on the planet. If that's the case, then maybe that's what the Otsutsuki created this fruit for, to collect their knowledge on their ruined planet. But as everything happens in the world, everything that is created for good is used for destruction. Therefore, the power to save became the power to destroy other planets. However, there are a few more questions that interest me. Who was the first Otsutsuki to eat a chakra fruit? Was it Shibai? Or was there someone else? Perhaps there were many who attained the divine form. What is this clan anyway? Do they fight each other? Or after all, as Urashiki said, they should not fight with their own kind. What do you think of it? Write your opinion in the comments. I hope you enjoy this video. Like and subscribe to the channel. Good luck to all.